Hi everyone, my name is Andrew Samuels and I designed and created an interactive wellbeing workbook for adults to read to children as a solution for very young people's mental health and emotional well-being. It raises awareness of mental health, reduces stigma and increases resilience. The foundation of the workbook is a story about a dog called Roxy and her experiences with her friends and family. You can use this workbook to support your child's future emotional and mental well-being. The book is $9.99 and all you will need is the workbook and some time.
Hi everyone. I wanted to do a video today about a piece of work that I've been working on now for about 4 years. It's actually a children's book. I can't believe it's taken me so long to write a children's book. You know, they're very simple to read and you'd expect them to be very simple to make. But actually they're not. They take a lot of consideration, a lot of time, and especially this book, because there's nothing quite like it on the market. There's something specific that I wanted out of this book. And about 5 years ago I started to work in mental health and worked with different organisations such as Mind, Rethink, Time to Change, different mental health charities in different roles. I got myself certified up to a level 3 BACP certified counsellor, became a Qigong instructor, did a lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of practical experience for myself and being around people that were like me. They had a mind. So basically, if you have a brain, you have a mind. If you have a mind, what you put in it is going to determine who you become. It's going to determine who you are. It will determine your behavior, your attitude. So you have to be very careful what you put in your mind. When we talk about mental health, most people will talk about ill or think about ill mental health. Anxiety, depression, the two main mental health conditions, most significant I suppose. And OCD and all these other things, we think of it as a negative, but actually in my research and my understanding of these of people, not these people, they're like me, we find that actually there are some aspects of mental health, when you absorb them and embrace them, can be the path towards good mental health. Positive things, performance. And in fact, being aware of your mental health is exactly the same as being aware of your physical health. The main difference, I suppose, is that for your physical being, if you want to exercise, you have to move. It's about movement. Exercise is about movement. But with your mental health and your mind, if you wanted to exercise, what you need is stillness and quiet and emptiness. And this is where meditation comes in. But we're not talking about meditation today. What we're talking about is this children's book that I've written, and it's specifically designed for children's mental health and emotional well-being. I've pulled together all of my knowledge and all of my skills that I've gained in order to produce something that anyone can just pick up and follow the guide, follow the instructions, and it will take you through a path, a learning path with a child. And through the exercises, which are all talking exercises, and the action plans, and the glossary, and the emotional words, and the stories itself, will take you through a journey where you will feel, at the end of it, very much more connected together. It's a book for adults to read to children, not for children to read by themselves. The age group is for 7 to 11 years old. And I have the book here, and I'd like to show you the book so that you can understand what it is that you have here in this piece of work. It's called Roxy Says You Are Here. Roxy's a dog. She's a real dog. She's my dog. She stays with my mum. I haven't got her here today. And you are here with an arrow pointing to a heart, just like you'd see on a map where you're looking for where you are, and he says you are here. Roxy says you are here. Okay, so it's about the stories, the adventures of Roxy the dog and her friends. It's an interactive well-being workbook for adults to read to children. So as we open up the book here, the book belongs to, this is for the child. This book belongs to the child. It's not yours. You're just buying it, but it belongs to the child. So they take ownership of it. All throughout the book we have stories, just everyday stories about Roxy and her mum and her family and friends, and each one of the chapters has an introduction, obviously, and then an emotional high. They all build to an emotional high in the middle, and at that point we diffuse it, and it always ends on a happy ending. So every chapter ends on a happy ending. But then we have these questions at the end of every chapter, which is the exercises. They're just talking questions about comprehension, understanding the story, questions about empathy, understanding the feelings and emotions of the character in the book, Roxy or her friends or family, and also questions that help to tease out content from the child of their experience, so that we have a space that we're creating where we may be talking about a particular emotion of the character, but actually we're bringing that emotion together and sharing our experience of that emotion, how we deal with it. So we're creating a very valuable space here where we are talking about emotions and feelings, and throughout each of these stories there are emotional words. I don't know if you can see there, highlighted in red, all the way throughout the stories. And if you don't know the meanings of those words, at the back of the book here we have an emotional glossary, so we can look up the meanings of these words. So we provide emotional literacy, so you can talk about your emotions and feelings and understand how to vocalize them. So all of the words that are highlighted in the book are here, and more, and there's space to add some more as well. And at the end of every chapter there are these exercises. As I said, the exercises are to help facilitate that discussion. And maybe during your exercises you may find that there's something that you want to attend to, something that's come up that you think that you could create some action for. There's space at the back of every chapter after the questions for an action plan. What are we going to do, who's going to do what, when are we going to do it. So you would want to action this action plan at the end of the chapter at some time before moving on to the next chapter. It's not a book that you would read just straight through just like that. It takes time and it takes effort, but what we're doing here is we're talking about emotions and feelings. We're establishing a psychological anchor at a point in a child's life where it's okay to talk about emotions and feelings and vocalize them and understand how to talk about them, and being able to talk about them with somebody safe. That's important. The other things that to note actually is at the very beginning of the book, if you're not sure about how to use the book, we've got instructions. First, start by asking the child to answer the questions, what do you already know? Questions. On the next page, I'm reading it upside down, to create a baseline of their understanding. So what I'm saying there, that's the very first thing that we do. And what that is a questionnaire here. And that questionnaire, a very simple questionnaire, is about awareness of mental health. It's about understanding stigma, and it's about empowerment or resilience. So there's a way of scoring this, and we put a score in the bottom here. That's the very first thing that we do, so that we understand where we're starting from, okay? And then the instructions here. So then the adult should read each chapter aloud to the child. Use the emotional glossary on page 51 to look up the meanings of the emotional and feeling words. And then after reading each chapter, go to the exercises and try the questions together. If you both decide to do something, put it in the action plan to follow up before the next chapter. And at the end of the book, here, when we've finished, there's that same survey again, the questionnaire, and also we measure it again. So we measure what the awareness is after doing this work. What is the level of awareness now? What is the understanding of stigma. What is their feelings about empowerment? How empowered do they feel? How confident do they feel? How much do they believe in themselves? So we score that here, and from the score in the very first part of the questionnaire and the second, we can see a change. So obviously we want to see a positive change. So we can measure it. There's also content here. You can give examples. This is great feedback for us because we'd like to know how to improve. Give 3 examples of how you manage your mental health. This helps us to solidify the understanding that the child has about their mental health. And any comments on the workbook. All of the illustrations in here were done by the Mind in Hillingdon. Their art group contributed to these drawings, as well as another individual. We asked businesses to sponsor this book, and we would like to give the book to a class of children or their parents in primary schools. That's what we're working on at the moment. Unfortunately, we can't really progress with that, but you're at home. If you're at home with your child and you don't know how to fill that time, but actually you know that you have an opportunity to educate them, this is the space, this is the time. Yeah, give them the opportunity to grow emotionally and mentally, and share that experience with them. Because when they go to secondary school, eventually, they're not going to want to talk to you after a little while. I'll give it about 2 weeks. Yeah, trust me, I've got 2 kids of my own. Yeah, my daughter's 22 and my son is 16. I know what happens. And every parent, ask any parent who's got a teenager who's gone to secondary school, and they'll tell you the same thing. We've got to catch them when they're young. We've got to catch them when they're... It's one thing that I did learn from my experience at working with mental health charities. You have to start very young. Secondary school is too late. That's when the horse has bolted the stable. Yeah, we need to start before that. We need to start at primary age, primary school. When they're still children, when they still like getting hugs and kisses and being tucked in at night, when we can still communicate with them at that level. We're creating that space, that psychological anchor that I talked about. This is something that they're going to need later on in life. So when they are having problems later, they know that there is a space that they can come back to talk. Ideally, that space, my intention was, that space should have been with grandparents. But as long as that space is created, that's the first thing. Yeah. So this is about children's mental health and emotional well-being. It's about you creating a space, creating some time, yeah, to guide your child through this book and this process, and at the end of it there will be a connection, a human connection that you're making, which is, hopefully you've got something like that already, but if you haven't, this is the book that's going to start it with you. Okay? So my website is www.mind-angels.com. We use the profits from the book to sponsor the other projects that we have, which we're not running at the moment because of the coronavirus, which is the projects with elderly well-being. So since 2017 and before, we've been working with elderly people, doing well-being projects such as mobility exercises and Qigong. We go to care homes, we have activities in different groups, and it's very successful. If you'd like to message me, you can find me andrew.samuels@mind-angels.com. Come to the website, have a look at the stuff that we've got. This is gold, and you will be able to appreciate that once you've done it. So thank you very much for listening. I hope I didn't rabbit on too much. Any questions, give me a shout. But have a look at mind-angels.com/reviews, and there you will see the reviews that were given to us about the book, from a mum, from an ex-Ofsted inspector, from a children and young person's play therapist. So have a look. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you will be able to share in this good work. Thank you. Bye for now.